A Dance Tale, a digital narrative by Alyssa Ross. Growing up, I loved dance and everything that encompasses being a dancer. I started dancing at the age of 3. As a young child, I loved music and started dancing around the house as soon as I learned to walk. My mom and dad took me to see the Radio City Rockettes perform at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. I was mesmerized, and I knew in that moment that I wanted to be a dancer forever. I fell in love with every aspect, the choreograph, the music, the crowd, and everything else that involved being a rockette. My best friend from childhood, Casey, also danced, and we took all the classes together, which I think made me love it even more. I already had fallen in love with dance as a whole, but getting to do something I love with my best friend made it even better. I always held on to the dream of wanting to be a Radio City Rockette. Little did I know that something would happen that would change my life forever. I continued to pursue dance all throughout elementary school and into middle school. My 7th grade year, on the first day back from Christmas break, something tragic happened. I was ecstatic to see my friends. In the hallway before homeroom, my friend Sammy came running up to me. We were both jumping with excitement and exchanged a hug. During the excitement, Sammy accidentally jumped on my ankle while it was bent at an odd angle. I continued through the school day. I was a dancer and I often twisted my ankle, so I didn't think much of it. I went to the orthopedic the next day. They immediately x-rayed it and told me that I had fractured my ankle. I was devastated. Dance classes for the season had just started, and I knew in this moment it was going to be weeks, if not months, of recoveries. The doctors came in after taking another look at my x-ray and told us that they had discovered a bone that had never fully developed in my ankle and wanted to x-ray my left ankle to compare the two. So I went in for a second x-ray and then came back to the exam room. The doctors took at least 2 hours to come back into the room, bringing doctors from all over the practice to look at my x-rays. Finally, when the doctor came back into the room, he sat down and gave us the news. I had a tumor in my right ankle on my growth plate. At the beginning, the doctors thought it was cancerous and kept us at the doctor's office for a few more hours. They eventually determined it had been benign, but sitting right on my growth plate, and I needed to have surgery ASAP. The next week I had surgery, everything went well, and I started my recovery process. Once I was finally able to walk again on both feet, I started having pain and eventually found out I would probably never be able to dance again. Turns out the movement of dance just put too much stress on my left ankle, which caused me to have an enormous amount of pain. This is my Works Cited page. It took me a very long time to cope with this. I wanted to pursue dance and make it my career in life, which was no longer possible for me. I was so upset and didn't understand why. I was mad at the world, especially my best friend Casey, who got to continue her dance career. It took me about 2 years until I was finally okay with the fact that I could no longer be a dancer. I knew that God had a plan for me and that dancing wasn't it. This has changed my life in a way where I had to learn to trust in God who is bigger than I am. This experience has taught me how to cope with heartbreak and disappointment and to not take a single second of my life for granted. I believe now that because of this experience, I am able to find happiness in simpler things and live life being thankful for what I have and where I am.